Hey everyone, I'm Shigwen. Since I was lucky enough to receive a key to play the developers alpha of Heroes of the Storm, the MOBA made by Blizzard, I thought it would be interesting to make a video about it and compare it to League of Legends. Indeed, HoS is the first of a new kind of MOBA where strategy and team play become mandatory even in the first levels, while farming gold to buy items is not. Well, first of all, I'll talk about the differences between HoS and League of Legends, since most people will want to hear about this comparison. So let's try to make up for all the rumors you could have heard about the game from players that obviously could not play the game for long enough to make a good opinion about it. On some forum posts I could read things like HoS isn't a skill game, there are no last hits or even items, or things like heroes have no DPS, you can just hit each other for an hour and nothing will happen. As I just said, this can be the advice given by someone who played the game long enough, and here's why. In any MOBA, and not just HoS, you can pick tanks or supports and make them hit each other, and guess what? Nothing will happen indeed. And that has nothing to do with HoS. You can actually one-shot people in HoS just like any other MOBA. And there actually is more teamfights and action in HoS than League of Legends, and I will prove it in this video. Even if it is true that there are no last hits, no items and no gold in HoS, it doesn't mean that you cannot customize your champion. Every few levels, you can choose an upgrade for your champion among a list. This upgrade will give utility to your spells, like adding a slow to a skilled shot or reducing its mana cost. Sometimes you can even give your champion new spells. Now tell me, since in League of Legends everyone tends to play with the same item build on a champion, just usually copying the pro gamers build, do you really think that there is much of a difference? I mean, as game goes on, the heroes in HoS gain more power, tanks become tankier, and assassins gain more DPS, more burst, more damage. Just as if they had an item build corresponding to their role in League of Legends. Honestly, the results are roughly the same. Tanks are nearly immortal late game 1 against 1, and assassins can just one-shot failed targets, just like in League of Legends. In the end, HoS gives you more opportunities to customize your champion than League of Legends, since you can choose between 2 ultimates for your champion and not just 1. This way you can adapt to your team and to your opponents in-game depending on the situations. The fact that there are no last hits and no items doesn't make the game less skilled. On the contrary, removing the laning phase where you have to farm to gain in power before you group for teamfights was one of the smartest things they could do in a MOBA in my opinion. I always thought that farming was one of the most boring things in a MOBA, and removing it in HoS only resulted in more action and more fun. Now let me say a word about feeders, trolls or bad players in general that ruin your games and keep flaming all the time instead of playing. We all had players like this in our game. Well, in HoS there is no feeding and no snowballing. Since experience is shared through the whole team and not gathered only for individuals, you cannot have someone that will reach this peak of power that makes him so strong he can kill multiple people at once only because he's fed, even if he is totally unskilled. Indeed, in HoS everyone in the team levels up at the same time, since experience is shared, even for those who are dead. For these reasons, in HoS, skill is actually more important in my opinion than League of Legends. Yes, I said it. Since you don't get fed, you only get kills and win games if you are skilled enough to carry them through decision making and gameplay alone. Think about it, when you remove gold, last hits and item builds on a MOBA, what is left? Things like strategy, game knowledge, decision making, all the things that actually make a game skilled. Do you really think that killing opponents because you are fed is the same as killing opponents because you play well? Well, I don't. Any player can get fed and kill people. That doesn't make him skilled at all. So I strongly disagree with people thinking that HoS isn't a skilled game compared to League of Legends. Actually, I think that HoS in the end is more interesting than League of Legends, more skilled, but I know that it's only a personal advice and many people will disagree. Before someone flames me and says that I'm mad at League of Legends for some reason and my advice is biased, I reached Diamond 1 and played in a pro gaming team. Of course, you might disagree with me, but don't think that I don't know what I'm talking about. One more thing about the laning phase in Heroes of the Storm. Even if you will usually always have someone on each lane to gather the experience for the team, you will most likely see a lot of people roaming constantly, and teamfights usually break out at early levels. There is no such thing as a static laning phase where people just farm and play safe, because there are objectives that spawn on the map regularly and force you to fight to gather them for your team. This way, there is action and teamfights all the time, even at level 1 or 2. Players new to HoS will learn decision making and positioning much faster than LoL players did, because there are teamfights all the time, and not just at the end of the laning phase around 15 minutes. In League of Legends, you often know a game is over during the laning phase just because people fed like hell. Even if you did well, there is often no way you can catch up if you don't play a hard carry champion. This is how your mates end up dragging you down, and you often go through boring games where you know you will not be able to win because your mates are too busy insulting each other to play as a team. Since in HoS you play the team from level 1 to 20 in a very dense full of action game, you usually don't have the time to get bored even when you're losing. Note that I'm not saying you will not have those games where your mates are bad and you know you cannot win. I didn't say this, but at least games only last 10 to 25 minutes in HoS, so it's not like you will have to go through 50 minutes of struggle just because your mates refuse to surrender and obviously lost game, as it often happens in League of Legends. Now I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this one, as some players consider that it is never lost and you should fight till the end. And I totally respect their opinion, but personally, when I play I am trying to have some fun, and even if I always take gaming seriously, playing 40 minutes just to hope that the opponents will throw at some point is not fun at all or even interesting in my opinion. So in conclusion, just because you cannot snowball in HoS doesn't make it an unskilled game, on the contrary. If you like actions, teamfights, coordination, and you really got bored playing League of Legends all these years, just to see that some people can climb the ladder only by playing carry champions and still be clueless about the game mechanisms, then you will really love HoS. If you just like being the guy who is fed beyond all repair with 10 kills and one-shooting everyone, well guess what, you will still like Heroes of the Storm. Indeed, you can just play champions like Nova, assassin champions that literally are able to one-shot everything that isn't a tank or a bruiser in the game, and you will still have this feeling of power and awesomeness you get when you keep killing opponents. Even better than in League of Legends, you don't even need to be fed to one-shot people, since there is no such thing as being fed in HoS, and you don't even have to farm. But just remember one thing, in HoS, killing all the opponents doesn't make you automatically win the game. Objectives are 10 times more important than kills. Even if people who didn't play HoS will argue that objectives are more important than kills in League of Legends too, and they are right, I'll insist on the fact that they will never be as important as in HoS. Never. In HoS, when you kill a mercenary camp in the jungle, he joins your sides and fights for you. That is to say, it helps you push the lane and take down the opponent bases. In some maps, objectives are literally winning the game for you. In this map, for example, the Blackheart Bay, a pirate will just shoot their nexus down for you when you bring him enough coins, a special resource of this map. You don't even need to push the enemy base, since the pirate will destroy it for you. But you still have to group and team fight and gather for objectives, or you will lose. The last thing I want to say is that since there is no metagame established in HoS yet, unlike League of Legends, it opens a lot of opportunities for crafty players to invent their own strategies, their own builds, to actually discover the metagame by themselves instead of being forced into it by the community. Indeed, in League of Legends, if you don't do the same thing the pro gamers did, everyone will consider you're necessarily wrong and people will start flaming you. I played Kayle jungle in League of Legends up to Diamond 1, and I played her with Runon's Hurricane, an item that is greatly underestimated by the community. For months, I've been flamed and insulted, then the pro gamers started using it too, and then you would see people playing Kayle with the same item that way almost every game after that. Always remember that a game is a game and try to stay open-minded. There are various ways to play and enjoy the game, and as long as your teammates do not drag you down and make you lose, you should let them play as they intend, since they don't get in your way. It doesn't really matter in the end if pro gamers did things differently, as long as your way to do things work and it brings you fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will definitely post more videos about HoS in the upcoming weeks. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me about it and I'll see what I can do. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to share it and subscribe if you liked it.